Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Shout out to all of you wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. A couple of weeks back, I did a response to a YouTuber called Themis and Thoth, and they were talking about this concept of black women being educated and why the black manosphere has such an issue with, educated black women. And, this conversation has been going around for a long time. It's very much a circular argument. A lot of the arguments on the women's side are often false, false, or they're based on false premises that somehow men don't want educated women. That's just not the case. So today I received a response to that video, and YouTube is very sensitive about some of the language and certain things. You may not even necessarily be using curse words or anything, but there are a number of taboo words and phrases. And after trying to upload a response a number of times, it just wasn't happening. So I said I would just do a quick response to the comments. So let's get into what the comments said. I'll block the person's name. You can go and check it out if you want. And it read, "Black women have always had to do everything alone anyway, because black men use racism as an excuse for their failures. I've never heard them take responsibility for themselves. Life is a game called survival of the fittest. The fittest who master the game thrive. I've divested because I got tired of playing complexion wars and siding with struggle. I have managed to surpass our we have managed to surpass our men educationally and economically. That's not because we're trying to replace them. It's because we want, deserve better, and know the only way to get it is on our own. It's beneficial for us to partner with men from groups that are at our level. We do use our education to benefit our children by providing them with better lives, which lead to better opportunities for them as adults. Once again, this is about thriving, not feelings." And I know that the audio was choppy in that video, and maybe I didn't get my point across very well. So I want to reiterate and kind of address this point by point, okay? So it says here, black women have always had to do everything alone. The first thing I said in response to this video was, first and foremost, buckle up, because I've got no filter and I don't know how to say it nicely without coming across as overly harsh. So although the tone is harsh, although the words are very direct, please don't take offense. Please try to hear what I'm trying to say rather than how it's delivered, okay? And the first thing I said is black women are addicted to victimhood. I know that, the comment says black men make excuses, but black women have a big problem with introspection. They really don't take a lot of time to look at themselves and understand, if I keep getting into certain situations, I am the common factor in these situations. If I keep having the same result with men, with friends, with family, in my workplace, in my social settings, professional settings, whatever the situation is, if I keep having the same kind of responses and reactions or recurring events, there must be something I am doing that is bringing about these events. Am I too harsh? Am I too soft? Am I too accommodating? Am I going above and beyond what is right? Do I have appropriate boundaries? Am I upholding my boundaries? Am I overstepping other people's boundaries? There are a lot of things that black women I'm sorry to say, and I'm not saying that other races of women don't have this problem, but I deal mostly with black women, so that's the perspective I'm talking to and mostly from. They just don't seem to have perspective when it comes onto what they are doing and how their behavior contributes to their own outcomes. And the reason why I said first and foremostly about introspection and the concept of victimhood is because when you are in a victim mindset, you always perceive everything from the standpoint people are doing things to you. You never look at it from the position, I have the reins and the control of my own life. I actually have the ability to shape what comes in and out of my life. So when this person says black women have always had to do everything alone, this is not true. If you are in the States, with all due respect, 3/4 of slavery, men were alone. Okay, it was only in the last 80 to about 100 years that women were brought over, and immediately women, in a lot of instances, were higher than the men because the woman could work in the house. The woman was raising the family's children. She had access to white wealth. Yes, there were women who were being, assaulted and forced to breed and things like that. But even in that situation of slavery, the men had already been broken and subjugated for like 300 years before women were brought into the situation. And they were brought in and sometimes elevated over the men. They were given more power. It wasn't an issue for them to learn to read. They could be educated. And it was never a situation where it was illegal for a black woman to marry a white man, because at the end of the day, the woman and the children would be his property. So there was no problem for the man to have a black wife. That immediately gave her privilege and access that black men were denied. It was only in recent times that black men were allowed legally to marry white women. So when we talk about this concept of black women have always had to do things alone, even historically, black women have had more privileges than black men because women are not seen as a threat. Okay? Then it says, because black men use racism as an excuse for their failures. Now, I'm not going to lie. I've always had an issue with people who talk about the system or racism or white supremacy, not because I don't believe it exists, because over here, I'm a big proponent of the concept of white supremacy really fueling the destruction of the black community. But my saying is this, white supremacy sets the trap, but we have to voluntarily walk into it. Now, the bit here that I didn't like is the disingenuous nature of this statement. It's not so much that black men always use racism as an excuse. They are just highlighting the fact that racism plays a huge part in undercutting or slowing down the progress of black men, which black women are often complicit in. And I know that's something that a lot of black women are going to find offensive and hard to hear, but just hear me out. I have done numerous videos, and it's been, commonly said across these spaces that the black woman is used as the right hand of white supremacy. Why? Because the woman is the first teacher. The mother is the one who makes decisions. None of us are here by choice. All of us who are alive today, we are alive because somebody else made the decision to bring us here. So the environment within which we are raised, the circumstances under which we grow, what we are taught, what we are exposed to, what we have access to, and what we are denied for the first 18 years or so of our life is not within our control. Although it does have lifelong consequences and shapes who we are, how we think, how we view ourselves and others, the decisions we make, our goals, our aspirations, it has a lifetime impact those first 18 years. And so when you grow up in an environment that is constantly, buffering you back, that is going to impact how you see yourself as a person. Okay, so you've got mothers who, even these women who don't have daughters, they haven't got a problem supporting initiatives specifically for black girls, even though half of the children born are male. So why are black women always complaining about a shortage of eligible black men? But yet even women who have sons or women who are childless never band together to do initiatives for black males. They only care about initiatives for black girls. Black girls rock, black girls magic, God is a woman and things like that. The black woman is God and all these kind of things. We need to worship the womb and worship the vagina and worship the female principle and elevate it and honor it. And But Black women, even when they have no children, can get behind initiatives and programs and slogans and hashtags for females, but they do not do anything for their males. And I'm sorry to say, but every other race of women, they know to sacrifice. They understand that they have to forego certain rights, certain privileges. They have to put themselves on the back burner. I don't really like Jubilee and this kind of channel, this show, but I came across a little show. I can't even remember what it was. It was like a woman from Korea or something, and the daughter is asking the mum questions. And one of the questions the daughter asked was, what did you have to give up for me, the daughter? And you want to see the mother's look kind of drop, because she feels guilty to say, I gave up like my looks and I gave up my body and everything. Maybe she put on a lot of weight, maybe she's got stretch marks or scars. Maybe she never was able to shift the baby weight. I don't know, maybe her face changed, like after having children and maybe gaining the weight, or maybe she lost it, but she didn't have that youthful look anymore. I don't know. But she understood that the way I was before having you and now, and it could be the stress of parenting, maybe everyday stressing, sleepless nights or what have you, it's taken a toll on her body over time, because the child was maybe about 7 or something. So she's been a parent for like 8 years. But she understood, I had to make a sacrifice in order to give you a fighting chance. But unfortunately, in the Black community, there isn't a strategic culture. It's one thing to say, I want to have kids, or I want you to one day be a doctor, or like my mother said to me, I would like you to sing. It's one thing to say, I want you to do something or be something. It's a completely different mindset to say, this is what I've put in place. When you've got, finals, I'm going to sit up with you all night. If you need me to drive you here, there to the library, I'm there. What books do you need? What computer do you need? What resources do you need? This is the best school. These are the resources. These are the extracurricular activities, etc., etc. It's one thing to say to somebody, this, or I hope one day you accomplish this. And it's a completely different thing to take a person by the hand and guide them through the process to completion. And in the Black community, we don't see Black mothers doing this for their sons, but they can throw money at a hashtag because the girl wants to wear natural hair. It doesn't make any sense. If you really gave a damn that much about the shortage of eligible Black men, why aren't Black women doing more to fix boys? It's easier to raise a boy into a solid man than to fix a broken adult male. So why would you keep on talking about all the men that you choose to deal with who are already broken, that shouldn't even be on your radar? You shouldn't even see them. You should be stepping past them. They're invisible to you. Look, bro, I was going to go easy, but there's no point to go easy, because this conversation makes no sense. You are an adult person. You have the right to entertain in your life who you want to entertain. Sorry about that. There's no point to complain about who you entertain in your life when you have full control who you entertain in your life. It's not anybody else's fault who you entertain in your life but yours. So to make out like somehow it's everybody else's fault but yours because of who is in your life, that doesn't make any sense. No one is asking black women to save adult men. What people are saying to black women is please stop breaking black boys. Because if you invest in the boys, you will naturally have a higher percentage of adult accomplished men. It's not rocket science. This shouldn't need a diagram on a whiteboard. It should literally be like 1 + 1 is 2, because every other group of women on the planet understands this basic principle. It's not even a conversation. It's only a conversation in the black community because subconsciously black women don't want to invest in their own boys, and they find all kind of reasons why they don't have to. So this circular argument about black men making excuses, and I said in every other group of men, there are men who are failures, there are men who are poor, there are men who are homeless, and there are men who are criminals. That doesn't mean to say that black men are comparable to necessarily other groups. There are groups that are worse, there are groups that are better, but at the end of the day, the women of those other groups, they don't spend all day being fixated on the handful of men who are not doing the right thing. Their goal is simply to find one man who's doing the right thing and build a life. This collectivist argument is nothing more than a deflection. Because at the end of the day, if you're a woman, you're only looking for one man. So why are you talking about the collective of men as if to say you're trying to be with all men? Invest in the one man you have and build something, and you and him can start a new generation of productive people. It's that simple. It's not like it shouldn't be such a big conversation. Now, do black people as a whole use racism as an excuse? Yes, sometimes black people do. But what I will say to this, black boys are more likely to be targeted in class almost as much as white boys. Okay, you have an oversaturation of white female teachers. This is a gender and a racial conflict. So when you have black boys coming to class with white teachers who are primed to see black boys as more disruptive, those teachers are already zoning their attention on that child, looking for any excuse to pick on that child. I'm a black female. I've been to all white schools and I've experienced it. So I can only imagine what young black boys go through. These boys are often watched more, they're given harsher punishment, they're given less benefit of the doubt, they're more likely to be told, well, not more likely, white boys or boys in general, but black boys are second, are more likely to be told they need to be expelled from class, and they're more likely to be offered drugs to calm them down, quote unquote. Okay? And that's going to the point that's further on in the comment about education. The education system is set up to be conducive to the way females learn. Girls don't necessarily want to run around for hours at a time. They don't necessarily want to do PE. They don't necessarily thrive off of the testosterone and the adrenaline from doing physical activity. They like more quiet, still play, reading, sitting for prolonged periods of time is easier for a girl because she's less fidgety, because she has less testosterone. So if you have female teachers that a girl can identify with, long periods of stillness and quiet reading, and then you also have things like a lack of PE and physical activity, that is an environment that's good for a female to learn in, but it's detrimental for boys. When you factor in things like mixed classes and a conflict between the teachers and the students, a lot of boys are disadvantaged even from school age. A boy is more likely to be seen as like 3 or 4 years older than his actual age. So if you've got a son who's 12, but he looks in the eyes of these, teachers or people in the general public as 16, 17, even as a 12-year-old boy, he's going to be treated more like a young man. The looks, the judgment, the discrimination is